In this task, we are going to be telling the difference between discrete and continuous. Before we get started in question number 1, I do want to make sure that you have read the definitions of both above. So we're going to read those together. So we're going to start with a discrete variable. A discrete variable says there are consecutive values without any other values between them. For example, you can take 3 steps or 4 steps, but there's nothing between 3 and 4. For instance, you are not going to take 3.2 steps. You're either taking 3 steps or 4 steps. That's discrete. The values are distinct and countable. For example, you can count each step. 1, 2, 3. And again, you're not counting 2.2 steps. It's just you're taking a step or not. And another way of looking at it is the variable can only take on certain values within a certain range. A continuous variable says that between any two values, there are infinitely more values. For example, between running 2 miles and 3 miles, you could run 2.2 miles or 2.67 miles or 2.29 or 2.999 miles, etc. So there's all those numbers in between. The values are not distinct and not countable, but they are measurable. For examples, you can the distance in miles, your height in feet, or water in gallons. So it's measurable and not countable because it's taking on all those numbers in between. The variable takes on any value within a certain range. Then we are looking at discrete functions versus continuous functions. A discrete function says that either the independent variable, the dependent variable, or both are discrete. So one of those variables has to be discrete in terms that it's countable for it to be a discrete function. A continuous function says that both of the variables are continuous. So to be continuous, you need both variables being continuous or measurable. Now let's take a look at question number 1, and we're going to decide whether it's discrete or continuous. And I've marked it on here for us, and we're going to talk about why it is continuous. So it says to circle 1, so we're going to circle continuous. And the reason that it's continuous is because the points are connected, which means any two values, there are infinitely more values. So for instance, I can go on my x-axis, and I can go to maybe 0.5 and get a value there. And I can continue to get any point in between these two values that I have. And that connected line tells us that we can take any of those decimals in between, any of those points.